Hey guys, it's James from Who Shot the Photographer, and today I'm going to be going through my work process from start to finish. So that includes taking stuff off of the memory card, importing it into the hard drive, and then editing the photo and exporting it. So a complete process of how I usually do stuff. So firstly what we've got is we've got my external memory card here, just opening that up. Now, what we've got is today I'm going to be importing photos from a shoot I did recently with a girl called Mickey Sulit. Mickey is absolutely awesome. Please go and check her out. She's a local Canberra artist and she's just got an EP out now as well. Very, very talented lady, so please go and show her some love. So, just for the sake of this video, I'm not going to be importing everything. I like to shoot in RAW and JPEG. I shoot in RAW because of the greater dynamic range, and I keep the JPEG anyway, just as a quick reference. If I did want to send the photo to someone, then it's pretty easy just to kind of pop it over to them. So, I'll then go in here. The reason why I shoot in RAW at the moment is just because of that greater dynamic range, but there is an increasingly bigger dialogue appearing, basically saying that it's better to shoot JPEG because of file sizing and also the difference in kind of lighting loss isn't so big, and it's something I want to explore. It's not something I'm doing at the moment, but you know, it's something I do want to do in the future. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name it Mickey's Lake Shoot. And I like to put the date in here as well, just to make sure that I know myself when it was done. So it was done the 29th of January 2017. And all I'm going to do is just simply paste what I wanted over here. Fantastic. Now what we're going to do is open up Lightroom, and I'm going to import these photos in here. Now the reason why I put everything on the hard drive is, personally, I just think it's a bit better in terms of backup as well. It goes without saying, you should back up everything you have and everything you do. There's nothing worse than having a hard drive failure, because it can happen, especially with some old hard drives. Or, you know, for example, your computer is destroyed or something like that. That's absolutely terrible news, but you don't want that. And just back everything up. I use something called Crash Plan. Crash Plan is really good. I've got it installed on my Windows machine where I have the bulk of my work. This Mac here I use for kind of on-the-go work, so I do actually have a much bigger external hard drive I do use for a few things. But for this, for the time being, we've just got these folders, which I just showed you over there. So I'm going to import this. Yeah, again, you'll have to excuse me, guys, because I'm still getting used to Macs. I used Mac ages ago, and I just recently got one, and it's incredible, but it is taking me time just to get used to it. So here we go, Mickey's Lake Shoot. Brilliant. So what we'll do is then I'll import these, and I'll just briefly show you the way I like to edit as well. So this is, you'll probably see this in a few of my other videos, but one of the things as well, which I haven't shown properly yet, and I will do a full video, which is probably going to be about half an hour long, going through a whole set. But just for the time being, just this short video, I'm just going to show you how I kind of select and choose, because obviously, usually with so many photos, there wouldn't be 6 photos in the set. They'd usually be way more. They'd probably be about 200, and obviously trying to pick 200 photos to use can be pretty tricky. So the way in which I like to do it is I like to firstly select this bit here, select this option here so I can see full screen, and what I'll do is then go through the photos and pick any ones I like. So what I'll do is go through here. So this is a very hard thing for me because a lot of these photos are good. So let's say, for example, I wasn't so keen on that photo, I'd just leave it. What I'm doing is when I go, I'm pressing P. Now P gets that little white flag lit up there. So I'm going through there, P, I like that one, and I like that one. So I've flagged 4 photos there. So the next thing I want to do is then I want to filter by flagged. This will let me then have just the photos I think are really awesome up. Now obviously the next big thing is trying to work out, if you have, say for example you have 200 photos, you've flagged 100, you've still got 100 there. You can't, how then can you refine that? Well, the way I like to do it is I like to select 3 photos at a time and select this multi-view option here. Now, what that does is then bring them up next to each other, and you can get a really good view at it. Now, obviously, it's a bit harder when you've got a portrait photo along with, you know, a couple of horizontal photos. But what you can do is have a look and assess which one you like. So, for example, let's just make it a bit easier. Let's add these three here. Say for example I want to edit one photo and I'm not sure which one to do. So what I'll do is I'll just take my gut instinct and say which one do I like, which one do I don't like. If I don't like one or I don't think one fits in as good as the others, then I'll just simply go down here, click on that white flag, and it removes it from the pool down here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to, let's say first time I've actually looked at these photos, I love them. It was a really, really awesome shoot with Nikki. So what we're going to do is just for these two, I'm actually just going to edit this one over here on the right. Although I'm tempted now to edit this one on the left. No, I'll tell you what, we'll edit this one on the right here because it looks a little bit more in Mickey's personality there. This is the problem I have trying to choose photos. It's pretty hard sometimes, hey. So once I've chosen the photo, what I'm then going to do is click on the Develop tab. Now this will then bring us into kind of the main area here, and then I'll be able to resume the way I usually edit photos. Just for this one, just quickly, I'm just going to go through how I usually edit. So I use the C400 preset from the Visco Pack 6. We're going to drop the tint down to give it a bit more of a filmatic look. Get rid of the grain. And then we're going to just pop those highlights down. Bring the blacks up. And it's a little bit sunny, so I'm just going to push the shadows up just a tad. Reduce the clarity. Now we're going to play around with the colours, my favourite section. Okay, so Mickey's shorts are really red, which is awesome, but I'm going to really heavily desaturate them. That's nice, and I'm probably going to pull them a bit more towards the orange side. That's a bit nice, that's good. Now for the orange, let's just reduce that. There you go, that's good, that's nice. It's about getting that kind of very, very muted colour going, which I'm very, very drawn to in these photos, obviously, as you can see. Let's get that a bit more to the red side. No, I don't like that. Let's have that back up. A bit more greeny. And I don't know how many greens are in this photo. Let's have a quick look. Oh yeah, the trees are registering quite green. Yeah, we just want to desaturate those. Actually, I'll leave it at -25. And then I want to push it a little bit more towards the yellow side. That's nice. I don't think we've really got any aqua in there. There's a little bit in the sky. That's fine though. I just want to get rid of those blues. There we go. And just pop it over to the teal side just a little bit. That's good. That's nice. I don't think we need to play with the luminance. No, I think we'll leave that. That looks good as it is. So then what we'll then do is get a little saturation decrease, just to give that really classic, beautiful look. And we just want to reduce the contrast a little bit, and I might just do a little bit of a exposure increase. Yeah, I like that. That's really nice. That's perfect. Brilliant. So I'm really happy with that. That's a and let me just do this as well. The profile correction. Yeah, again, there's so many things I just jump around with whenever I go through this, so you'll have to bear with me. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. So we can see the before and after by pressing the on the Mac. I know it's the kind of vertical bar key. You can see before and after. That's really awesome. I love that. So that's a really quick run through of how I edit photos. Now obviously the next thing I want to do is export it, because I'll be uploading this to my website or up to Facebook. So I want to make sure it's in the best format. Now there's two things here, and I'll probably go through this a bit more in depth on another video, but it's whether I want to watermark it or not as well, because watermarking is something I do whenever I send the photos across to creatives and models, basically because I don't want, when I send photos across to people, I want them to say, oh, you know, I'll say, is that okay? Are you happy with that? And they'll say, oh, yep, I love that. That's great. Or if somebody might say, maybe could you change this a little bit? I'm not quite sure. You know, can you do something with my face here, or a very small adjustment usually. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that you don't have loads of different types of the same photo floating about. I had that once, and it was dreadful. There were black and white copies flying around. Well, I just wanted it to be color, and it was a bit of a pain. So what you can do. What I'll be doing next is then you click on export and then open up the export dialog. Now I'll go through that watermark section in a minute. But what I'll do is I always have a specific folder I export to. So here it is, Dropbox, Lightroom, finished photos. Now, I use Dropbox because, yet again, for backup, it's absolutely essential. Crash Plan, I mentioned before, takes a whole carbon copy of the hard drive, but Dropbox lets you kind of have individual files, and also it's fantastic for sharing photos. You should have Dropbox, if I'm honest. It's something I would recommend. So I'll then put in the subfolder of this, so we're going to call it Mickey's Lake Shoot. And I'm going to put the date in there again as well. You don't have to put the date in there, it's just something I do because I seem to have a lot of photos there and it helps just to kind of differentiate them. So I don't rename it, I just keep it as it is. I have it as a JPEG, and what I do here is I limit the file size to 2000 when I'm just uploading onto the internet. The reason for that is, yet again, a big post I'll include elsewhere, but search engine optimization on your own photography web page is heavily affected by the size of files. So if someone goes on your web page and you've got 30, 100 megabyte images, Google's going to rank it terribly and nobody will ever try and find your website. And also it's just better for loading. People want to go on your website and just immediately see everything. So I limit everything, I limit the file size to 2000 K, which is 2 megabytes. When sending over the final edited products, I turn that off because obviously the model and everyone wants to see the full the full size of the file with all kind of the bells and whistles on it, and without the file size limitation, which can sometimes reduce the quality. But in this case, not enough for it to be noticeable or significant. Include all the metadata and the watermark. This is what I talked about earlier. So I've got the watermark here as well. This is a custom watermark I've created, and it's just basically who shot the photographer over the top of it, and that's where it appears and that's where it aligns. Really useful for sending out because unfortunately sometimes you can send a full photo over and people are like, oh great, I can upload this to my social media, when really you want to be the one to release the set of photos on your website and on your Facebook page and then have people share it from there, because obviously it gets you the publicity, you know, for doing sometimes free prints. You know, it's important everyone gets recognized fairly. I'm a big advocate of that. So yeah, so now we're happy with that. What I'll then do is then click on export, and then we'll just go and find that photo has been done. Okay, now that that's exported, let's just go and find out where it is. So what we'll do is we'll go into Dropbox here. Here we go, Lightroom finished photos, Mickey's Lake Shoot, that's the folder we used. And there it is. There's the photo we wanted. Perfect. So there we go, guys. That's the run through I do from start to finish, more or less. There are a few variations, but I'll try and do a future video on that as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe below. And also, if you've got anything you'd like me to look at or help you with, or any other photos of mine you'd like to see me edit, please let me know below. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks very much for watching. Bye, guys.